In today's interconnected world, understanding international trade is paramount. It affects our daily lives more than we realize. From the coffee we drink to the cars we drive, global trade shapes our consumption patterns. It also influences job markets and economic growth. Trade allows countries to specialize in what they do best. This concept, known as comparative advantage, leads to greater efficiency and productivity. When nations focus on producing goods and services where they have an edge, it benefits all involved. Moreover, international trade fosters innovation and technological advancement. Exposure to global markets encourages businesses to compete and innovate. This competition leads to better products, lower prices, and a wider range of choices for consumers. In a nutshell, international trade is a powerful engine for economic growth and prosperity. It creates jobs, raises living standards, and fosters global cooperation. Understanding its complexities is essential for informed decision-making in the 21st century. The history of international trade is long and fascinating. From early bartering systems to sophisticated global supply chains, trade has evolved dramatically over the centuries. Early forms of trade, like the Silk Road, connected distant civilizations and facilitated cultural exchange. During the Age of Exploration, European powers sought new trade routes and established colonies to secure access to valuable resources. This period saw the rise of mercantilism, an economic theory that emphasized accumulating wealth through a favorable balance of trade. However, the 18th century witnessed a shift in economic thought with the emergence of Adam Smith and David Ricardo. They advocated for free trade, arguing that it promotes specialization and benefits all trading partners. This laid the foundation for the modern global trading system. The establishment of institutions like the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, or GATT, after World War II further liberalized trade. GATT and its successor, the World Trade Organization, or WTO, have played a crucial role in reducing trade barriers and promoting fair trade practices. Trade policies are the rules and regulations that governments implement to manage their trade with other countries. These policies encompass a wide range of measures, including tariffs, quotas, subsidies, and standards. Domestic regulations, on the other hand, are rules that govern economic activity within a country. The interaction between trade policies and domestic regulations is complex and often contentious. For instance, environmental regulations can impact the competitiveness of domestic industries in international markets. Similarly, labor standards can influence the cost of production and affect trade flows. Governments face the challenge of balancing domestic interests with the goal of promoting international trade. Striking the right balance is crucial for ensuring that trade benefits all segments of society. Open dialogue and cooperation among trading partners are essential for addressing these challenges. International institutions like the WTO play a vital role in setting rules and resolving disputes related to trade policies and domestic regulations. They provide a forum for countries to negotiate trade agreements and ensure a level playing field for businesses operating in the global marketplace. The United States is a major player in international trade, both as an importer and an exporter. The country has a diverse economy, and its trade patterns reflect this diversity. The U.S. trades with countries all over the world, with China, Canada, and Mexico being its top trading partners. In terms of goods, the U.S. is a significant exporter of aircraft, machinery, and agricultural products. It imports a wide range of goods, including electronics, automobiles, and consumer goods. The U.S. has a trade deficit in goods, meaning that it imports more goods than it exports. However, the U.S. has a trade surplus in services. The country is a global leader in services such as finance, insurance, and intellectual property. The rise of the digital economy has further boosted the importance of services trade. Understanding U.S. trade patterns is crucial for policymakers and businesses alike. It provides insights into the country's economic strengths and weaknesses and helps inform trade policy decisions. Section 5. The case for free trade. Free trade, as the term suggests, advocates for the elimination of barriers to trade between nations. This means removing tariffs, quotas, and other restrictions that hinder the free flow of goods and services across borders. Proponents of free trade argue that it offers numerous benefits for all parties involved. One of the most compelling arguments for free trade is the concept of comparative advantage. This principle, first articulated by David Ricardo, states that countries should specialize in producing goods and services where they have a relative efficiency advantage. By specializing and trading with each other, nations can produce more goods and services overall, leading to higher living standards for everyone. Free trade also fosters competition, which drives innovation and technological advancement. When businesses face competition from abroad, they are incentivized to improve their products, become more efficient, and offer lower prices to consumers. This competition benefits consumers by providing them with a wider range of choices and better quality goods and services. Section 6. The pitfalls of protectionism. Protectionism, in contrast to free trade, refers to policies that restrict international trade to protect domestic industries from foreign competition. These policies often take the form of tariffs, quotas, subsidies, and other trade barriers. While protectionist measures may seem appealing in the short term, they often lead to negative consequences in the long run. Tariffs, for instance, raise the price of imported goods, making them more expensive for consumers. This can lead to inflation and reduce consumer purchasing power. Quotas, on the other hand, limit the quantity of goods that can be imported, creating artificial shortages and driving up prices. Moreover, protectionism can stifle innovation and economic growth. When industries are shielded from foreign competition, they have less incentive to innovate and become more efficient. This can lead to stagnation and a decline in competitiveness over time. Section 7. Understanding trade deficits. A trade deficit occurs when a country imports more goods and services than it exports. In other words, it spends more on foreign goods and services than it earns from its exports. Trade deficits have been a topic of much debate and discussion, particularly in the context of the United States. Some argue that trade deficits are detrimental to the economy, as they represent a loss of jobs and output to foreign countries. Others contend that trade deficits are not necessarily a bad thing, as they can reflect a strong domestic economy and access to cheaper goods and services from abroad. The reality is that trade deficits are a complex issue with no easy answers. They can be influenced by a variety of factors, including exchange rates, economic growth, and government policies. It's important to note that trade deficits are not always a cause for concern. In some cases, they can be a sign of a healthy economy. For example, if a country is growing rapidly, it may import more goods and services to meet the demands of its consumers and businesses. Section 8. Trade's impact on jobs and employment. International trade has a significant impact on jobs and employment. It can create new jobs in export-oriented industries while displacing jobs in industries that face competition from imports. The net effect of trade on employment is a complex issue that depends on various factors. One of the main benefits of trade is that it allows countries to specialize in what they do best. This specialization leads to greater efficiency and productivity, which can result in higher wages and more job opportunities. However, trade can also lead to job losses in industries that are not competitive internationally. When cheaper imports flood the market, domestic producers may be forced to cut jobs or shut down altogether. Governments have a role to play in mitigating the negative effects of trade on employment. This includes providing job retraining and assistance to workers who have lost their jobs due to trade. It's important to note that trade is not the only factor that affects employment. Technological advancements, changes in consumer demand, and government policies also play a role. Section 9. Currency manipulation in international trade. Currency manipulation occurs when a country artificially devalues its currency to make its exports cheaper and gain an unfair advantage in international trade. This practice can have significant implications for global trade and economic stability. When a country manipulates its currency, it makes its exports more attractive to foreign buyers while making imports more expensive for its citizens. This can lead to trade tensions and retaliatory measures from other countries. Currency manipulation can distort trade patterns and harm industries in countries that do not engage in such practices. It can also lead to global imbalances, as countries with undervalued currencies accumulate large trade surpluses. International institutions like the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, play a role in monitoring and addressing currency manipulation. The IMF can pressure countries to adopt more market-oriented exchange rate policies. Addressing currency manipulation is crucial for ensuring a level playing field in international trade. It requires cooperation and coordination among countries to establish rules and mechanisms that prevent unfair currency practices. Section 10. Case Studies: Protectionism in Action. Throughout history, there have been numerous examples of protectionism and its consequences. Two notable case studies are the steel and automotive industries. In the 1980s, the United States imposed tariffs on imported steel to protect its domestic steel industry from foreign competition. While these tariffs provided some short-term relief for American steel producers, they also led to higher prices for consumers and businesses that use steel as an input. This, in turn, hurt other industries, such as construction and manufacturing. Similarly, in the 1970s and 1980s, the United States imposed quotas on imported Japanese cars to protect its domestic auto industry. These quotas led to higher prices for American consumers and limited their choices. Moreover, the quotas did not address the underlying problems of the American auto industry, such as inefficiency and a lack of innovation. These case studies highlight the unintended consequences of protectionism. Section 11. The Future of Global Trade. The future of global trade faces both opportunities and challenges. On the one hand, technological advancements such as e-commerce and digital platforms are creating new opportunities for businesses and consumers to connect and trade across borders. The rise of emerging markets and developing countries also presents new markets for goods and services. On the other hand, global trade faces challenges such as geopolitical tensions, rising protectionism, and concerns about climate change. The COVID-19 pandemic has also highlighted the vulnerabilities of global supply chains and the importance of diversifying trade partners. Navigating these challenges will require cooperation and coordination among countries. International institutions like the WTO will play a crucial role in setting rules, resolving disputes, and ensuring a level playing field for all. The future of global trade will depend on our ability to adapt to changing circumstances, promote free and fair trade, and address the challenges of the 21st century.